now. Maybe. I'm Ron Burgundy. Audio in 3, 2, 1.
Welcome to episode 105 of the Degenerates Clubhouse. Is there a 104? There isn't. Not yet.
They don't know about it, but they'll hear the 104 before the 105.
It's in the archives, soon to be released. And at the time of this recording, it will be released, making this entire spiel I'm going on completely unnecessary. You're welcome, listeners, for that. Where you been, Mondo?
So I think we mentioned last podcast that I had literally just recovered-ish from COVID. And then lo and behold, I knew this work trip was coming up. I wasn't sure if I was going to make it, but yeah, I flew to Salt Lake City. Well, let me retract that. I went to Vegas on last minute. Am I going to be out there? Am I going to have a decent enough time, or am I going to just waste money? So I literally bought a ticket I think Wednesday night, maybe Thursday morning to go to Vegas Friday afternoon. Was there with 6, 7, 8 other older Lancers. I was by far the youngest. Was there Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Sunday flew back to Denver. Monday morning flew to Salt Lake City for a week. So that's why we didn't have an episode last week. And our plan is, as long as none of us get sick or any other major catastrophes, we'll be steady from here going forward. I think we figured out OBS. Aaron, the genius. Hopefully you guys are watching this stream and there's actual sound this time, because I saw that my mom and Grego were trying to get a hold of my attention, hey, there's no sound, but I didn't see that until 3/4 of the way into the episode. But I think Aaron fixed it, and yeah, welcome back.
I mean, that is really, I think, the most exciting part of the show is our behind-the-scene technical struggles as we try to figure out how to use computer programs. I mean, at what point does our generation transition to where we start to become the out-of-date, technologically inept ones?
Dude, it's not that far out, I don't think. There's been time you're a little more technically savvy with stuff. And there's been times where I was the type that would have to I wanted to figure out how to do it, and now half the time I'm just throwing my hands up in the air and huh. And I remember thinking that with my folks, trying to show them how to use the iPhone, and just get frustrated, this is how you use a camera, and my mom would fuck this, she just get
Interesting. So I wonder, is that just an age thing? Do you just automatically become shit at technology when you get older? Because we're kind of entering a new period, right? Because our parents, the technology just didn't exist at all in the way it does now. And with we more or less grew up with it. I mean, I think we're the last generation that didn't grow up with this level of technology.
I think what it is, at a certain point, the older you get, the more kind of less fucks you give about everything. Just think about older folks, older generation, how they just don't mask their emotions, their feelings. Half of them are people from that era are still racist.
Are you masking your feelings and emotions?
No. I'm just saying think about the
Mondo, let it out. It's okay, bud. This
think
is
about
a safe space.
The older folks that are still kind of racist-ish, kind of, because that's what they grew up with. I think the older we get,
the more racist we get? I don't know. What are you saying?
No, I'm just saying the less fucks we give, and then the more we are just who we are.
Okay.
The world's going to accept us, whether technology, right? Why give a fuck? Why technology is getting better, but why go with the learning curve? Why just
That could be part of it. But I also think to some extent it's kind of like learning a language. It's really easy when you're young just because it kind of gets ingrained and then your brain knows how to process things like that.
Yeah.
Whereas kids now, they're growing up, literally little 3-month-old infants have iPads in their crib and they're playing little baby games.
Oh yeah.
Whereas, do you remember when you got your first computer?
I didn't get my first computer till I was a freshman in Whittier College. I didn't have, and that one I kind of sort of put together, kind of sort of.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, a lot of my friends had computers in high school, and I was broke ass Mexican. Didn't have internet. My folks didn't get internet in their home or in their apartment until I was off in college.
See, I think I was really lucky in that respect, and I didn't have my first computer until the like very end of elementary school, so maybe like 5th grade. But I still remember it. It was this janky Macintosh where everything, like, it didn't have a hard drive, right? Like everything just ran off of the floppy disks. So you'd put the floppy disk in, and then you'd have to like type in like the little DOS. Well, I guess it didn't have DOS. It was a Mac, but you would type in to run it, and then you had to pull it out. And I mean, it was super janky, but like at least pretty young, I started to get acclimated to computers.
I remember like certain games when you wanted to play a certain computer game, it required you install the discs. And sometimes it's like the more advanced ones would take like 10 discs to install just to play the fucking stupid boring game.
And then you get to a certain point, and you have to, even though you installed it, you have to put a new disc in.
Yep,
it'd be like 10 CDs.
Ridiculous.
So to bring it full circle, Mondo, one of the OG like I'm stuck at school and they let me use a computer games that everyone got hyped for was Oregon Trail.
Oh,
you remember Oregon Trail?
Yeah.
And it's like a whole generation of children have learned about dysentery. Great. but there was one little section of the game where you went hunting, and so you had a little gun, and that was all the little boy, like, you know, elementary school boys were like, yeah, I'm shooting a whatever, you know, a moose, whatever. Mondo.
Yes.
They are making a new version of Oregon Trail, or maybe they already did, for Nintendo Switch.
How does that happen?
It's like an RPG, Oregon Trail, where you like have to like boost up your stats. And I almost, when I saw that, I was really thinking about getting a Switch just to play Oregon Trail.
It would be cool if they did stick to the OG, like you died of fucking cholera or some shit. Like,
oh, I think they do. And I saw a little part where you have to like, you like load your wagon on a raft and you have to like steer it down the river. There's like little portions like that. And I think, as long, you know, Mondo, as long as there's dysentery.
As long as there's dysentery, we'll all be happy.
But yeah, and that's how I think it is out. 2022, Oregon Trail is out. Great. So, guys, if you have a Nintendo Switch, and that might be one of the longest running franchises ever, because I think the first one came out in the 70s. Oregon Trail and Nintendo Switch, brought to you by Oregon Trail and Nintendo Switch, guys. That's our sponsor of the day, our fake sponsor. Speaking of fake sponsors, Mondo. It sounds like there's a whole sponsor battle for naming rights down in the wonderful sunny state of Florida.
Florida man, causing mayhem when he can. Driving drunk as a rule, alligators in his pool. Look out, here comes the Florida man. Oh, yeah!
Best fucking song ever. Florida Man. This week in Florida Man, Booby Trap Strip Club makes competing $5 million offer for Miami Heat Arena naming rights. Booby Trap Strip Club.
I mean, already that is for just separate from the naming rights. That is a next tier level name for a strip club.
Yeah,
the Booby Trap.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
You're like, yeah, hi guys, I fell into the Booby Trap.
Yes, sir.
And somehow I lost $300.
You're like your girlfriend or your wife. You know, you're out all night. You come home the next morning. Where were you all night? I was stuck in the booby trap.
I got booby trapped.
Imagine it's the year 2023, and you're going to watch your hometown basketball team, the Miami Heat, play at their beloved downtown arena, the Bang Bros Center. By the way, Aaron called that BBC. Get it?
Okay, one, I got a little shiver down my spine because I was imagining that, and then I was like, oh, I live in Florida. Oh no, and then I was like, oh, but I'm watching it at the BBC.
Yeah,
and Mondo, I mean, look, it's the NBA.
Mm-hmm.
You know, not overwhelmingly, but a large number of the players in the NBA might have BBCs. That's all I'm saying.
I kind of thought I knew where you were heading with it, but it was hard to connect the dots. You just blurted it out.
Mondo, I was really trying to spit it out, just like the strippers at the Booby Trap Strip Club.
Bow chicka branco. Though it feels more fit for a comedy sketch than real life, the prospect of a Bang Bros Center is not that far-fetched in Miami, according to following the downfall and bankruptcy of FTX CEO Sam Bankman-Fried's cryptocurrency empire. On Friday, Miami-Dade County and the Miami Heat swiftly pulled out, pun intended, of their partnership with FTX, the erstwhile namesake of the downtown arena owned by the county.
Okay. First of all, Mondo. First of all, there's a lot to unpack in that short sentence. First, kudos and props to the Miami New Times for a pullout joke.
Yeah.
This is a semi-legitimate online publication making pullout jokes. Good job, golf clap. Good job, guys. And then second of all, can you believe that somehow crypto is failing? It's like fake ass currency based on absolutely nothing. And when you would try to get someone who was like real on the crypto bandwagon, they drank the crypto Kool-Aid.
Yeah.
And like 4 hours later, they're like, well, because of this and this, and you're like, okay, but why is it worth anything?
Yeah.
And it's just like this big circular.
Hold on, but is that going back to what we started the episode with of us just being kind of out of touch? What about like that? Like that's one example. What about NFTs? Like the whole craze with crypto and NFTs. Like they've explained it to me.
No, it's all bullshit.
And I kind of understand, but I kind of don't. And
Because you don't, because it does not make sense.
The thing is, people still found a way to make a lot of money on crypto and NFTs.
Right. So here's the thing. You gotta our whole currency system, the stock market, all of it, it's all kind of made up, right?
Yep.
We've just decided as a society we're going to assign value to these things, and we're going to have this agreed upon idea that, oh, these things hold value and we can trade it and whatever. But there's no real value. For a while, the thought there was gold in Fort Knox, and our currency was supposed to be backed up by gold. Gold also really not that functionally useful.
Yeah.
It's a very soft metal. It was just that it was rare. So but this is like going even a step farther, because at least when you're buying stock, the idea is that you're buying a portion of the company, and whatever that company does have some intrinsic value to it.
Mm-hmm.
Crypto, you're even a step further away. And yes, I've heard the whole long convoluted explanations, and I'm like, no, it's still not tied back to anything that has any inherent value.
I think crypto and NFTs, if you're one of the early adopters, you're taking that gamble, but I think for me, that's the only time you can make some money. Like jump in when it's cheap, sell it when it's hot, and get rid of it, be done, walk away.
Well, all right, Mondo, you know what else works really well if you get in early and then get out before all the fucking dummies that come after you figure out that it's a scam? Pyramid schemes.
Yep.
I mean, I'm not saying crypto is not a pyramid scheme exactly, but like it's not that far removed. So not shocking to me that this whole cryptocurrency thing is not working out so well.
Continuing on with the story, in typical Miami fashion, the unfolding saga has grown more absurd by the day. On November 12th, popular porn site Bang Bros announced that it would be resubmitting a $10 million offer for the naming rights of the arena after its 2019 offer to rename it Bang Bros Center, BBC, failed to materialize. A company spokesperson recently told the New Times they hope the county seriously reconsiders their offer in light of recent events.
You know, it would be an absolute baller move by the, pun intended, by the Miami Heat if they're like, no, we're not taking your $10 million offer, but if you raise your offer a little bit more, we will accept it. And then they do the sort of like Dr. Evil thing. Camera zooms in. They're like, we want $69 million.
Stupid.
Would Bang Bros? I bet they've got $69 million lying around. Would Bang Bros do that just for the meme? It's a lot of money, huh?
I don't know.
Yeah, they're not. At this point, I think Elon Musk would. He's like, if people would think I'm funny, I would waste. I mean, what did he Elon Musk has wasted like $44 billion just to shitpost.
Yeah.
So I think he probably would have, but I don't know if Bang Bros has that Tesla money, but who knows?
Joining the growing chorus of erotic bids for the arena's naming rights, the owner of Booby Trap, South Florida, confirmed to the New Times, sorry, I keep trying to say New York Times, that they too have made an offer with Miami-Dade County to stick their name on the arena that sits along Biscayne Bay. Owner Greg Berger wrote via Instagram DM that Booby Trap, which owns a handful of strip clubs across Miami and Pompano Beach, made a $5 million offer to rename the venue Booby Trap Arena. We are a staple in Miami, and we think the fans would be behind the idea. Given more time, I think I could come up with some creative alternative names for. But yeah, it doesn't sound. It isn't. It's a Florida thing. It's like, what would Baller would have been to like pay so much money and getting the league's approval to rename the team to like the I don't know, the Florida Blackhawks. What are you gawking about?
Okay, so I was looking up Bang Bros.
Okay.
They don't have money to throw at. Like Bang Bros not that profitable. And I was like, I wonder how much is Pornhub worth? $97 billion.
So Pornhub can do it.
Pornhub can do whatever the fuck they want.
Yeah. By the way, just a kind of proof that our audio is working, my mom's been writing not paragraphs, but like multiple messages. Are you coming home for Thanksgiving? Blah, 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 blah. So, yes, I'm probably not coming to Thanksgiving, Mother. Thanks for interrupting the podcast. Appreciate you.
Wow.
Yeah.
100. You know what?
Pornhub Arena.
Speaking of early technology and computers, I should have continued along on that path. This is Degenerate's Clubhouse canon that when I was a ne'er-do-well 16-year-old, I did start a porn site because I wanted to buy a car, made like $20,000 and then closed it down. You know what? I mean, I could have been $100 billionaire.
That and combined with the Alta Vista thing, the naming right, the whatever the web domain that you had, like you could have been the owner of a BBC Arena in Florida, dude.
Dang,
just
I missed my shot.
Shoulda, coulda, woulda.
In my Back to the Future, Marty McFly goes back to like save his parents or whatever. In my version, I just go back and start Pornhub.
Yeah,
and then I make the BBC Arena.
It reminds me of that movie, A Hot Tub Time Machine. He goes back in time, gets and he's like, I combined Twitter and Viagra. We're calling it Twitagra. Anyway, moving on to the world of Ask Reddit. Reddit question number 1, Aaron.
Mm-hmm.
What would the U.S. state mottos be if they were brutally honest? Can we just, Florida's an easy one. Come on, dude. It'd be like, what would a Florida one be? It'd be like, you like hot water, like hot women, being up till 4 o'clock in the morning. That's too long of a motto.
That's much too long.
Yeah.
That's much too long. Okay. Hold on. I'm gonna pull up a. Let's go in alphabetical order.
Okay.
Alabama.
We can do all 50 states. I don't know that we have.
Alabama. I'm starting with that because I feel like Alabama would be the get her done state.
Get her done. No, I think Alabama would rename its motto to Roll Tide.
Roll Tide?
Yeah.
You're right. You're right.
Instead of it just being like the college thing, it'd be like, no, our state motto is Roll Tide. That's it. Roll Tide.
So okay. So let's go to. I'm gonna skip to Ohio.
Okay.
Because when I lived in Cleveland, there was a hilarious early YouTube video called the Hastily Put Together Cleveland Tourism Video, and it was a song. And it was like, our waterfront looks like a Scooby-Doo ghost town. Our economy is based on LeBron James. And it goes through this whole thing. And at the end, it goes, Cleveland, at least we're not Detroit.
Yeah.
So I feel like the Ohio motto would be, at least we're not Michigan.
At least we're not Detroit, Michigan. Are there good parts of Michigan? I've only been to Michigan once. I went to Cadillac, Michigan.
Ann Arbor is okay.
Oh, okay.
And there's so many lakes in Michigan. There's like cool little lake houses and stuff. But no, I mean,
No.
Like Detroit. There was a while there where I was like, should I just buy a couple of houses in Detroit? Because I'm not exaggerating. You could buy like a $4,000. Sorry, a 4-bedroom house for like $5,000.
Yeah. So Aaron would have been a slumlord tycoon.
Hell yeah.
Selling Alta Vista, their domain name, and then
running. I mean, I
dude, you missed your target.
I did. But no, Michigan's fucked. I mean, there's some pretty parts of Michigan, but like Flint, they still don't think they have drinkable water. I mean, Not great. Okay, what about
Which one of the southern states is like where like I'm not saying that.
the worst? Mississippi.
No, I'm talking about like where they kind of sort of loosely still do incest shit. Like there's got to be one. There's got to be a few of them.
I mean, I think that's not just the South. I mean, I think Mississippi is the most backwards of all the southern states, and it has no real redeeming value. Like even like Alabama, there's some cool like little like cities. There's parts of Alabama that are really beautiful.
Mhm.
Mississippi, I don't understand the point of it anymore. It's like Mississippi, you're not contributing a whole lot. There's not particularly pretty parts of it. It's just So let's
Mississippi's motto to be if you can spell Mississippi, you're automatically nominee for governor.
okay. Colorado.
Ooh.
I think Rocky Mountain High.
Rocky Mountain High, like
you have to you have to have a little bit like now the fact that you can get edibles and weed and everything here, not that groundbreaking. Plenty of states you can do that, but it's they love everything here is named like Rocky Mountain this, elevation that, like mountain this. So you have to have some allusion to the Rocky Mountains, and then let's just throw the weed thing in there.
I had a number of customers, or not just customers, but like companies in my industry that are called 5280 this, 5280 that, and I couldn't figure out what the fuck that meant. I had to ask somebody like, "Hey, why is there a lot of shit named 5280?" They're like, "Yeah, that's 5,280 feet is a mile high, and it's a mile high, whatever, blah blah blah."
New Jersey, the armpit of the East Coast.
New Jersey, the armpit of the East Coast. Okay, all right.
I mean, if you've been to New Jersey, it does actually smell a little bit like an armpit.
I've only been the one time where we went to AC.
Oh, right. We did go to AC for did we do a poker tournament?
We did a poker tournament, and we both did poorly.
AC, it's like, they're like, we'd like to hit that sweet spot where it's way shittier than Vegas, but maybe slightly nicer than Reno, but with more mob connections. And they're like, Atlantic City, perfect.
Wasn't AC at one? Didn't AC have its heyday? Wasn't there like a period of time where Atlantic City was like popping and people wanted to go there?
Yeah, maybe. I think so.
For something reason, I imagine like 60s and 70s were probably like where it was the happening place, and then it just, you know.
Yeah, it got kind of gross. Montana, bring on the apocalypse.
Yeah.
There's so many like preppers and shit out there.
Yeah.
Dude, I watched a YouTube video where I think it was either one of the Dakotas or Montana. But let's, for the purpose of this AskReddit question, let's say it was Montana.
Mm-hmm.
There were like these giant bunkers that the government had been storing like some sort of munitions in or bombs or something. And they were all cleared out. And you could buy one of these huge ass bunkers for like $30K. And people are like making little like homes in them. They're like framing out rooms.
Oh, is that when they were taking like actual cargo train, like sea trains, and burying them underground and making them into like, I think I saw something like that where there was a state that was taking basically those sea containers and then burying them underneath, like underground, and basically making little like hobbit homes out of.
Oh, these things were not completely underground, and they were enormous, like huge. I mean, really, really large. And people are like, but let's live in this giant windowless bunker. So yeah, Montana was really disappointed that COVID did not spawn a zombie apocalypse. They're like, this is what we've been waiting for.
I gotta admit, so was I.
It's like, yeah, how the fuck am I supposed to shoot a virus? Like, I got 10 sawed-off shotguns. I can't blast a virus, you fuckers. Give me zombies. I don't know why I give them that accent. That's not how they speak in Montana. But you know what? I just want to be stereotypical. Is there anything else? Do you have any?
No, let's just read some of the Redditor questions.
Yeah.
We both kind of
Petering out.
User Bender1_toilet0 writes, South Dakota, our governess already approved ours, in quotations, meth. We're on it. And yes, I'm serious. The state approved that ad. All right. User Arson Bilbo 12 writes, Washington. No, not the capital, the state. That's a good one.
Which is
no, not the capital, the state. User here to complain or cry writes Arkansas, where Walmart is the fancy store.
Dude, I've talked about that before. Remember when that's these small southern towns. When I lived in Laurinburg, North Carolina, I was like, "What do you guys do for fun here?" And they're like, "Go to the Walmart." And I'm like,
Yeah, that's crazy.
I was like, "Okay." And then what do you do there? And they're like, "What do you mean? Like you just
stand
go to the
around.
Walmart?" I was
Yeah.
like, "I don't. What the fuck?"
I'm gonna read a couple more. Same user writes Alabama, kind of like Mississippi, but more. And the last one I'll read. User McClintock KC writes,
or for Mississippi, we make Alabama look good. That's what I was saying.
Yeah.
Mississippi is the worst southern state. I don't get it.
last one I'll read. User McClintock KC writes, California, our poverty level is $90K a year. How that is so fucking true. I don't understand how families survive there anymore. I really don't. I don't understand. I don't get it. Like, you can be making, and $90K is not, it's a very adequate income in most states, but in California, fuck you, you're living in an apartment like with that. It's ridiculous. Anyways, fuck California.
Wait, one last one. Just
Okay.
Florida, God's waiting room.
Pretty good. Pretty good.
I don't know if it's. I don't. Here's the thing. I don't think it's God.
Or
somebody's waiting room.
I was about to say, or it could be like Florida, sign-in sheet to hell.
That's a good one.
You know what I mean?
Let us end on that.
All right. Moving on, Reddit question number 2. Aaron, what childish thing did you... I'm sorry. Let me read that again because I'm retarded here. I'm R-worded. Sorry. What childish thing do you still do and don't plan on ever stopping? That's an easy one for me.
Oh, then go ahead.
I was say, I'm still playing video games. I don't give a fuck. I probably spend midweek, maybe an hour and a half, 2 hours midweek, and then on weekends it could be there. I could be like a zombie for 4 hours in front of a fucking console or whatever, or even playing games on my phone if you count that shit. You know.
Are video games childish anymore? Though it's like they were when we were kids, but that industry has shifted so much.
Well, I think the majority of people that play video games, like the mass majority, are younger. Not to say that there aren't like 70-year-olds playing, but I think if you took a pie chart of everybody that plays video games consistently, I think the vast majority are going to be, 10 to, or maybe even younger nowadays. Like, we're talking about technology. Kids are learning how to fucking use their phones when they're 4, so they're probably playing like, I don't know, Candyland or whatever on their phone. So yeah, but I mean, to me, I've always looked at it as it's more of the game part of it. It's more of to me, it's like the problem solving, like the strategy stuff, like how do I get better? The challenge of it is what makes it fun for me. So I'm not like, but now it's a profession. Now some motherfuckers are making millions of dollars.
Well, but some of the games are also like extremely mature, like thematically, like dialogue. I mean, we've talked about it before, but The Last of Us, a show is coming out on, was it HBO? And that's still one of the best. Like,
Keep talking. I'm gonna urinate.
Zombie related stories I've seen. I mean, very, very, very emotionally charged, kind of heartbreaking at times. Video game with a great storyline, great acting. So I don't know if video games are childish, unless Mondo is playing like. I'm trying to think. There are some video games that are super childish. Mondo, you playing Pokemon still? He said yes. He said he loves to play Pokemon video games, and I was gonna make a joke about him liking like a really effeminate Pokemon, and then I realized I don't know what any of the Pokemon are other than Pikachu, so that didn't work. I will just tell mine, and it's actually sort of apropos that Mondo is not here, because the childish thing that I do is oh fuck, he came back, dang it. Now I gotta say this where he can hear it. Like I will still like speak in like kind of like weird like silly voices and stuff, and a lot of the time when I do that, it's like when I'm hiking by myself, like almost like my brain and my mouth will kind of disconnect, and my mouth will just be like, I'll just be having like little conversations and doing silly voices, and I feel like.
Now, are they imaginary languages, or are you talking to imaginary people? That's
I don't think either. No, I don't think I'm doing imaginary languages. But I do feel like if there was ever like an audio recording, a compilation recording of me like talking to myself or acting weird things out while I walk in the woods, if someone listening to be like, dude, are you good, bro? Are you okay? Like, do we need to get you someone to talk to? Like, what's going on? I'm like, no, I'm just just thinking thoughts, and I am verbalizing them in my own special way. The one where when I'm walking with Finn, where he's like, Finn is like, "Are you okay, man? What the fuck are you doing?" Is I will sometimes sing like long, I don't know if I can call them songs. They're very like slow paced sort of folk ballads about I don't know what, and they rhyme.
Are you singing like pirate shanties? Like,
no, it's usually just about like walking or exploring, and then I'll just go off in weird, tangents and things like that. And you just have to get in that zone. I mean, it's not hard if you're doing an A-B rhyme scheme. It's not very hard, at least for me, to make sustained rhymes.
we gotta, you know how they do the NFL
Mondo's
games?
dog Violet is jumping on my chair. She climbed in my lap, and now she is there. See, it's like chair there. It's very simple rhymes. Violet, what the fuck?
I'd be interested in like, you know how they do in NFL? They do the mic'd up, where they take an NFL player, they put the microphone. Like do that with Aaron, like while he's hiking, mic'd up, and Aaron's just like talking about random shit. Violet, stop it! Jesus Christ! Oh, we had to anyway.
Violet is literally shoving the microphone into my mouth. Violet, stop it.
Let's see what some of the Redditors had to say about that question. User Darius Majewski writes. Majewski? Anyway, writes, sliding on hardwood floors in your socks. Is that childish? Yeah, it's childish, I suppose. But I do that kind of shit too still. Or like in the office setting, like especially those office chairs that have the wheels in them, like I'll get a running start and like sit on it and have it slide, especially a long hallway. That's fun. I still do that shit.
Violet, what the fuck are you doing?
User Pig Agar 429 writes, during autumn, I go out of my way to shuffle through piles of leaves when I'm walking.
Yeah.
I like doing that shit too.
You splashing in puddles, bro? You getting your little yellow galoshes and jumping in puddles?
Yeah.
That used to be, you probably, I don't know if you've ever, well, okay, hold on. Violet.
Just throw her.
Yeah. I mean, I don't want to break the microphone, though.
Yeah, the microphone.
I don't know if you ever had this experience, because I don't know if you'd ever get rain this much, but like as a little kid on the East Coast, you get these really huge storms, right? Where they just dump a ton of rain, dump, and all the like the gutters and stuff would kind of overflow. So you'd have these whole like rivers that would flow down the sides of your street. You could build like little dams, like you could make little boats to float on them. There's all kinds of like crazy rain games that you could play as a kid. And that just made me think of it. I was like, oh yeah, jumping in puddles. Always fun.
We didn't have that much water in California. We'd get rain, but not enough where you can rework waterways and make dams out of them and shit. User Jojo Nono 17 writes, avoid stepping on sidewalk lines and cracks.
Yeah, that is that is called obsessive compulsive disorder. That's childish.
Yeah.
At this point.
Last one I will read. Dr. Edge ATX writes, chocolate milk. I don't drink it a lot, but make a big glass of it for a treat sometimes, and I'm almost 40. I don't know if that's just having, like I like peanut butter and jelly sandwiches here and there,
I think if the chocolate milk, you've bought the chocolate milk and it has a cartoon character in the front of it, I think that's childish.
Or you get it. Sometimes guilty as charged. I'll still go to McDonald's when I'm kind of like just want to munch on something, and I'll get a Happy Meal if I have a cool toy. Now, I go to the extent of going to get a Happy Meal for the cool toy. What separates me and not make me completely childish is I don't do the little puzzles on the side, the back of the, I think that would make you a little.
Do you ever eat any of the kids' cereals?
Like what?
Anything that has a cartoon like mascot.
Not anymore. I think I don't eat a whole lot of cereal. I think I probably buy less than 5 boxes a year. But when I do buy cereal, it's more based on like which one has the most fiber. Like right now, if you look at the top of my fridge, I have Fiber One because it helps my my tum tum.
That is actually a favorite cereal of children. They're like, what do you want, Timmy? Do you want Fruity Pebbles? No.
One.
Do you want Cookie Crisp? No. What do you want, Timmy? Fiber One.
Yeah,
I like to be childlike, and I also like to be regular.
yeah.
I think Fiber One is missing an important demographic. Is the 5 to 10-year-old age range.
Yes, sir.
All right. What are other people saying?
That's all I had for Reddit. I closed the window. I'm not
All right.
bothering to read any more of their answers. We are, hold on, let me give you a time. We are 36 minutes or so-ish into the podcast, and we have absolutely nothing else to talk about. Just kind of catching up about the what have yous and what have you been doing. What's
Probably many things, just not anything set and scripted.
What's the progress on the home? I know I was supposed to kind of stop by because the framing was going to start, but I don't know where we are in the Jaffe residence.
I mean, you can like walk around in it now. There's a first floor. There's a second floor. There are no staircases, so you have to get to all the floors via ladder. I guess the interior walls are framed on the first floor, not quite on the second floor, and some of the exterior walls still need to go up. And then on the 28th, we're getting a crane and a crane operator to bring the roof trusses up.
Ooh.
So we can get a roof on there.
Put a hat in the cap on the head.
Yeah, it'd be nice because I don't really ever want to have to shovel snow out of my bedroom again.
I was going to ask you right now. I know we kind of very quickly touched on how did the snowstorm that hit Colorado affect your progress?
Yeah, I mean, not great, right? Like
wet wood.
So it's not too bad, right? It's because it's so sunny in Colorado. Like once it starts melting, the sun is just hitting it and just dries the wood out right away.
Mm-hmm.
And I did, and like I said, I mean, when there was a bunch of snow, I'd get up in the morning and then go shovel all of it off, just so there was less snow to melt off. But yeah, not great. I mean, we couldn't, particularly this Thursday, it was snowing like the whole day, so there's just no work could get done. So we've probably lost, I don't know, like half a week now just because of snow.
And it's not going to get any better, dude.
It might. It's supposed to be really nice next week.
Oh, I mean, I'm just saying we're heading into winter now, and so
the thing with Colorado is like you never know, because January it could be 60 degrees out.
Yeah.
So it's just such a crapshoot. I was really hoping we'd get through all of November without snow. Too late for that. But yeah, next week it's supposed to be in like low 50s. Friday it's going to be 61 degrees randomly. So, but that trying to actually go off of a weather report at this time of the year is such a crapshoot also, because there'll be like a weather system like behind the mountains, and then it just shifts and swerves, and all of a sudden you get tons of snow. So, but yeah, Mondo, man, lots of progress. Like I said, like it looks like a house if you're looking at it from the street. Got the basement slab, concrete slab, so you can like walk around the basement. It's not framed out yet down there, but all the concrete and everything's down. Steps, there are steps now. You can go down to the basement.
Like cement steps?
Yeah, concrete.
Nice.
There was oh good Lord, this was a stressful day. So I mentioned earlier, I think, or maybe when we were off mic, that I had to move all this lumber out of the front yard. And the reason I had to move it out of the front yard is having the property regraded, meaning, I don't know if you remember, like, but the foundation was built like 4 feet above the existing grade. So like there was just 4 feet of concrete between the ground and the first floor. And part of the reason I did that was because I wanted this guy to use all the extra dirt. I had this giant dirt pile in the backyard, and basically make like a nice slope away from the front of the house to the street, so water would go away from the house, and also it wouldn't look as weird. Anyhow, so all that regrading got done, so it looks like a little bit less weird and ridiculous. But there is this like one like dip when you're going along the side of the house to the back, and I did not realize he did not compact the soil very
So
well.
there's parts that are really loose.
So yeah, so what happened was I was bringing OBS for like sheathing, like to put on the walls, and I went to go up this little hill, and all the dirt just crumbled away, and my truck slid into the foundation of the house.
Ooh.
And like that happens, the guy who owns the framing company like calls me and is like, "Hey, can I have like $13,000 right now?" Because I didn't realize he wanted, like, I'm paying them in installments, and then the company that's doing the sewer line also shows up just like on the site and was like, "Hey, like we're actually ready to start. Can we start tomorrow? And can we have the down payment to start?" And I'm like, "Guys, I can't fucking like I'm about to like it was like truck against the foundation. People want a crazy amount of money. I just didn't even have it at that point, and that was an adventure. I went to Harbor Freight. Shout out to Harbor Freight. Have you ever been there?
Yeah.
Store is fucking amazing. I love Harbor Freight.
It is what it is. It's supposed to be what it is.
It's great.
You're not going to get anything quality there.
But it's some of the stuff is fine though. Like if you need to get like a tarp or a drill bit, or it's the same
Single use tarp, drill bit that you might break.
If you're buying like a drill or something like that, it's not going to be as high quality as a DeWalt or Milwaukee or whatever. But some of the stuff, like if like in my case, like if I was going to get like a cement mixer, right, where I'm not using it 8,000 times commercially, it's fine. Like it's so much, you save so much money. Anyhow, long story short, I went and I got like a winch that you could like hang crank, and I had to attach the winch to the hitch on the back of my truck, and then loop it around one of my neighbor's trees, and like the framers were trying to like push my truck, like, and then I dug out this like little ditches like on the outside of the tires. So then the framers were pushing, I was cranking, and
Dude,
the whole truck
awesome.
just like slid away.
And none of those fuckers had like a truck that had 4x capabilities or like towing or pulling capabilities.
Well, so the problem was there just wasn't room. I mean, one, like I also had, my truck has 4-wheel drive, but they couldn't pull it away from the foundation because there was like a fence and trees and everything.
Yeah.
And if they pulled it forward or back, the whole truck would just be scraping against the corner of the foundation. So the only way to move it without damaging anything was pulling it directly away. So yeah, we just winch and like
gnarly.
And the best part, 0 damage to the foundation, tiny little scratches like on the gas cover of the truck, but like minimal.
Yeah.
So I was pretty happy. That was crisis averted. But super stressful day. I was like, holy shit. Because I mean, I think as far as material things, I'm like, the foundation of that house was so hard, so expensive to get in. So much shit went into, and now I'm like, no damage to that can ever happen ever. And then I need that truck, so that was an exciting day. But yeah,
progress is sounds like a lot of progress is being made.
Oh, other thing, the views from the second story of the house are fucking sick.
Yeah,
like I have gone back. Like 1 minute I'll be like, oh my god, building the house this high was fucking insane. What was I thinking? This is crazy. And then the next day, especially, oh my god, when I was shoveling the snow off, like everything's white. Like it's not a great view of the mountains, but you can see the mountains. Like you can see the Federal Center, all this stuff.
I'm excited for when the deck gets built up there and putting a. I have my vision of what's going to happen up there, and then Aaron has his little more conservative. I want a full-on fucking hot tub up there, like a big-ass fucking deck so you can put a big old smoker in there. And
So when you say up there, are you talking about on the second story?
On the deck. Weren't you going to build a deck?
Well, there's two. There's a second-story deck, and there's a first-story deck.
Whatever, one of them. The one that's got the better view. Who knows?
Well, I'm not putting the one with the better view is the second story. I'm not putting a hot tub up there. That's insane.
Boo.
Those are very heavy. That's a lot of water.
So
Fuck no.
you'd have the view and be in a hot tub.
But what I did realize is there's a deck off of the first story, and then and it's like well elevated. Like you have to there's has to be like a staircase to get up to the first story deck from the ground.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh, there's actually this little spot like kind of in between the first floor deck and the second floor deck where it's like I could just kind of tuck a hot tub right in there, and you could just step off of the first floor deck into the hot tub. I might have to explore this possibility.
Just add a cool shower, within walking distance of it, so that way once you get out of the hot tub, you go right into the shower and kind of hose yourself off.
No.
Okay. All right.
I'm already sweating just trying to build this deck. It's a very complicated deck.
I believe it.
If it was just the first floor part, I'd be fine with it. But there's a first floor and then a second floor, and then you have to build like this little landing to connect them, and 3 sets of stairs. That's stairs are complicated.
Okay.
Stairs are one of the harder things to build. It's you have to get the math right, or it becomes very, very difficult and problematic. But
all right. So during this Salt Lake trip, it was a week-long kind of a sales conference with all the sales guys of the company. And there's some, a lot of fundamental stuff for things that would have been very valuable to an intro level salesperson. But I'm there kind of just kind of going with the flow. And there was, like I said, there was some valuable stuff and stuff. It was like, whatever, But at the end of the whole conference, they gave us this incentive whereby if I reach a certain target goal by the end of the calendar year, the company will provide a trip for 2 to Hawaii.
Oh, nice.
And I'm like, I've never been to Hawaii. That being said, the carrot is dangled pretty far for us to get a Hawaii trip for 2, but it's doable. It's just like the carrot is dangled far enough where it's not like motivating, like, oh yeah, I'm really gonna do this. It's kind of like, yeah, I'm gonna work my butt off, and if I get even close enough, I think that's already like a big accolade, a feather in my cap. But for the most part,
that's a weak mindset, Mondo. Hawaii or bust.
No, I've never been. It'd be cool.
Yeah,
and
fucking do it.
I made a joke in the middle of like when they were presenting this. I was like, hey, just FYI, I know airfare and all this shit is provided, but I'm just letting you know now, I only fly first class. And like everybody started laughing because I've only flown for first class like one time on like a one-way to Seattle.
You know what? I don't know if I ever have.
Bollock. It was like we had that Seattle beer festival thing we would go to. It was like a recurring thing. A number of us went to, and my very first time out there, Bollocker had enough miles where he's like, dude, I'm gonna fly you out here first class. He's like, just come out here, and I'm like, all right. And it was a short flight. It was like maybe like 2.5 hours, but I made sure to drink all the beers that they allowed me to drink because it was all free. But pretty cool.
Yeah, one day I would like to fly first class. I remember thinking when I was looking at trying to get surgery in Germany, I was like, I gotta get a first class ticket for a flight that long.
Yeah, because you want to be comfortable, especially if you're like, because commercial sucks. I won't sit center seat if I could avoid it. Like on one leg of the trip, I paid an extra $40 just to get a window seat because I was like, I'm not sitting center. Fuck that shit.
Well, that was the one time I flew Spirit Airlines. I actually really liked it, and as much shit as that airline gets, because they make you pay for everything. It's like, would you like to wear shoes on the plane? Okay, that's $20. Would you like? But you could pay a little bit to sit in the seat in the very front, and then you had like 3 times the amount of leg room.
Yeah, that's important, right?
And it was like an extra $50 or something. Like perfect. Like I could stretch my legs out. The seat was like 6 inches wider. It felt very roomy. Was it first class? No. Was anyone that was on that airplane with me ever going to ride in first class? Highly unlikely. But I was like, oh, I feel like I'm sitting in the biggest seat in the front of the plane. This is white trash first class, basically.
What was cool about this trip is that nothing that the company did for us was like 5-star, but everything they did was like they took really good care of us. Like the rooms we stayed in had fucking kitchen. Like every single room had a kitchenette.
Mhm.
So you had a stove, you had pots, pans, all that shit. The hotel itself had some barbecue grills. It had an indoor pool.
Oh, nice.
And then like the first night we went there, they took us. You know what a churrascaria is?
No, sir.
A Brazilian steakhouse.
Oh, okay.
It's kind of like imagine a Casa Bonita, but instead of Mexican food, it was like really good Brazilian meats. And so you got a little flag at the end of your table, and as long as your little flag thing is up, they keep bringing you meats. It's like steak and chicken and bacon wrapped pork and all this amazing food. And it's like a buffet too. So like they have like a salad bar, a soup bar,
Nice.
all this other shit. So that was the first night. And then, during the course of the night, we did a Top Golf night, which was fun. The food wasn't great, but it's Top Golf. But, drinks were included. What's funny is a lot of the company execs and a lot of employees are Mormon. So they're thinking like open bar, like it's not going to be, half of us don't drink anyways. But of course I'm there drinking fucking beers and cocktails and putting those away. So we did Top Golf. We did axe throwing another night. It was fun. They made sure that like we did work stuff during the day, but the evenings were full. They were some form of like entertainment. They didn't make us like just kind of get stuck in our hotel rooms.
Yeah, that's nice.
So appreciative of the company. They really are. It really is. I gotta say, one of the top 1 or 2 companies I've ever worked for. They just really care about the employees.
Is it because they're Mormon?
I think it has something to do with their value set. Like, no joke. I know it sounds funny, but I think they're good people. Their values, like, one of the things they talked about during the course of the meeting was like, it was a sales meeting, and it was like, do all this, blah, 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 but do it with integrity. And I've worked for other companies where they've never mentioned integrity. It's like there's always like a handful of sleazy kind of used car salesman type personalities that you work with, and you're like, ugh, I work with those fucks, and they're held in high regard in some companies. It's like, that's not me. And so it just makes me more appreciative that like a company like this cares that we do, what we do, because at the end of the day, we're putting our name on something, and we don't want to sell ourselves. Be like the Wells Fargo fiasco years back, where they're like, bankers were, they were kind of forced to open or to meet certain quotas, and they would open up like fake bank accounts and shit. Like, that's a culture. That's a company thing. That happened because a company allowed it to happen. And like I said, there's been companies I've worked for where they don't. There's no integrity. And so anyway, long story short, good trip. I didn't have any of the COVID effects while being gone. So fortunate for that, I was able to appreciate and have an okay time out there. Anyway,
I'm still yet to catch COVID. I feel like at this point, am I in the minority?
yeah, probably. Don't do it. I don't recommend it.
I mean, not trying to.
Yeah. I've got nothing else to add to this episode. Senor, do you have anything? Oh, you know what? I'm lying. There's one more thing I want to talk about. So the Vegas trip was really, really fun. Like I said, I was the youngest. The next youngest was Lizer, who I think he's like 2 years older than me. But everybody else were guys from like the 90s and guys that I hadn't seen in 10 plus years.
How emotionally old is Eric Lizer these days?
He's
like
still
maturity wise. Is he? We're in the 20s.
He has matured. I would say he's like in the 30s.
Oh, nice.
Well, I will say this, mom earmuffs. We're out there. There's tons of weed, because a lot of those guys that went were like old stoners from back in the 90s. So there's tons of weed. I partook in. Eric made a mushroom tea.
Oh, jeez.
And he and I, let's just say he was a bad influence on me. I'm old enough to be like, no, like don't cave into peer pressure. But I was like, fuck it, I'm in Vegas. And oh my God, did we get annihilated on that mushroom tea. But it was a good time. Thank you, Mike Carr, for inviting me. Thank you, other Lancer bros. It was a blast. I can't wait to do it next year. If you guys do it next year, next year with more planning, I'll probably stay longer and actually go to the football game with them. Because the highlight of that weekend was that they all go to a football game together. They went to the Raiders game. I could have gone, but I didn't have the proper flight arrangements. That and it was gonna interfere with my work travel, so I couldn't have gone to the football game. But it was a good time. Those guys are a blast. All those guys. I mean, there's 10, 15 years that separate them and me, and they treat me like part of the crew, part of the gang from that time. So much love to those guys. And that's all I had to say. Did you have anything else you wanted to add to the episode?
Yeah, sorry.
Violet's taking over the mic.
Violet's like, I'm closing the shit out. I got something to say. No, man. Probably a lot of stuff, but we're towards the end anyways. Let's just cut it off, and I'll get Violet off my lap because I don't think I'm going to say anything coherent right now.
All right.
They just all over the place. Yeah, Violet.
She likes kisses. Well, anyways, thank you guys for sticking with us. We've had a really crazy schedule this last month and a half. Hopefully, we'll be back to our normal routine. Appreciate you guys listening and watching, and we will see you guys in a week. Oh, happy Thanksgiving. Forgot to mention that. Happy Thanksgiving to you guys.